Here in New Zealand, from mountain tops to the sea, we work and play against a variety of ever-changing backgrounds. The good earth is our security. Blue skies and open air call us to sport, and we like sport. Ours is a young country. Our mountains and plains are young. Even nature in our thermal regions still has a playground. Waitemata Harbour, Auckland. Many days covered with sail. All days, ships and planes arrive here and depart, linking Auckland and New Zealand with the world. Today, 1950, Auckland City stands ready to welcome athletes to the British Empire Games, for which New Zealand is a proud host. By air and sea, teams are coming into Auckland from Canada, Ceylon, South Africa, Australia, England, Scotland, Wales, Rhodesia, Nigeria, Fiji and Malay, meeting here to share in this festival of empire sport. A Maori welcome is a New Zealand welcome, and it's a greeting to all. For the Games recognize no distinction of color, race, or creed. Our guests are nations united with us in one empire. Now to the Empire Village, Ardmore, 22 miles south of Auckland, where for the first time in the history of the Games, both men and women will stay in one camp. Last to arrive is Australia. In simple ceremony, their flag is raised to join 11 others. The 1950 British Empire Games are ready to begin.
have just received the following from His Majesty. I greatly appreciate the kind and loyal message that I have received from all those assembled in Auckland for the British Empire Games. I hope that the Games will be in every way successful and serve to bring closer together the many units of the Commonwealth and Empire who will be represented at them. Signed, George Rex. I now proclaim the British Empire Games of 1950 duly opened.
We declare that we are all loyal subjects of His Majesty the King, and that we will take part in the British Empire Games in the spirit of true sportsmanship, recognising the rules which govern them
and desirous of participating in them for the honour of our Commonwealth and Empire and for the glory of sport. Thank you.
The 1950 British Empire Games have begun at Eden Park, Auckland. 2 Englishmen, 1 Australian, 1 Canadian and 2 New Zealanders are contesting the first semi-final of the men's 100 yards. First, number 27, Petty of Canada. Second, Henderson, New Zealand. Third, De Gruchy, Australia. In the second semi-final, Olowu of Nigeria is in lane 1, with Treloar of Australia in lane 2. Treloar wins easily, and the time, 9.6. A new Empire Games record has been set already. In the finals, Treloar is again in lane 2.
Sit.
De Gruchy, Australia, beats the gun. Petty of Canada breaks this time. Petty breaks again. Petty is disqualified for breaking twice, but when it's learnt that the Canadians use a different interpretation of the starting rule, an inquiry is held, and the final is delayed for some time till a decision is reached. With the consent of the jury and the other finalists, Petty lines up once more. Treloar wins by 2 yards in 9.7, 1/10 slower than his record in the semi-final. Number 74, Treloar of Australia, wins the first sprint title of the Games from number 76, De Gruchy of Australia, and Petty of Canada. The final of the 80-metre hurdles. A new Games record of 11.4 was set by the 3 place-getters in a heat which was won by Shirley Strickland of Australia, who's in lane 1 for the final, with Shackleton, Schock, Fletcher and Gourley of New Zealand, and Stalder of Australia in lane 6. It's a photo finish for first place between Strickland and Schock, and slow motion shows the race in detail. Strickland and Schock are neck and neck with 3 hurdles to go, but Strickland, who'd started slowly, draws ahead for a very slight lead. Strickland hits the last hurdle and Schock draws level, but Strickland wins in the sprint to the tape, and both girls register the same time, 11.6. The result of the photo finish: Strickland, Australia first, Schock, New Zealand second, and Shackleton, New Zealand third. Five countries are represented by the 8 finalists in the half mile: England, Canada, South Africa, Australia, and New Zealand.
Get set.
As they go into the back straight, Wilson of New Zealand takes the lead. From Parlett of England in the banded singlet, Parnell of Canada, Boyson, South Africa, Simpson of New Zealand, D. White, Australia, C.T. White, England, and Hutchins of Canada. Past the stands at the end of the first lap, Wilson and Parlett are together in front of Parnell, Boyson, and D. White. In the back straight for the second time, Parnell and Boyson have moved up and passed Wilson and Parlett, and Boyson leads with 300 yards to go. Hutchins passes Parlett and Boyson to join Parnell in front, and Parlett of England goes past Boyson and overhauls the 2 Canadians as they race for the tape. Parlett of England wins by a yard from Hutchins and Parnell of Canada.
Broad jump. H. Whittle of England. Nigeria's representative, K. Oluwu. Although injured, Oluwu carried on to the finish. Depoff of New Zealand, who filled 3rd place. Price of South Africa registers the winning jump of 24 feet. Price, South Africa, Huff and Depoff of New Zealand, 2nd and 3rd. New Zealander D. Herman puts the shot. Placed 3rd in this event, L.J. Roininen of Canada. H.E. Moody from England, who took 2nd place. The new title holder, Fijian M. Tuidikau, puts the shot 48 feet and 3/4 of an inch, just 1 inch under the game's record. The discus, A.E. Redmond of New Zealand. H.E. Moody of England again. Putting up a throw of 156 feet 7 inches, Australian I.M. Reid betters the game's record by nearly 10 feet, but owing to an irregularity in the circle measurement, the throw is disallowed as a record. Fijian schoolteacher M. Tweedthekau, who has had only 9 months active experience in athletics, hopes to add to his success in the shot put. He gets second place. The throwing circle has been adjusted to conform to the required measurements, and Reid again succeeds in an attempt on the record, this time increasing his throw to 158 feet and 3/4 of an inch, over 11 feet better than the old record. High jumper Magic Dumi from Nigeria takes off with the bar at 6 foot 4 inches. J. Vernon, Australia. R.C. Pavitt, England. New Zealander John Borland, 5 foot 8 inches high, makes an attempt with the bar up to 6 foot 5. That's 1 3/4 inches better than any New Zealander has ever jumped. Magic Dumi stalks his way up to 6 foot 5. The bar is up to 6 foot 6. Olympic champion, Australian Jay Winter. Another games record is broken. Winter is first, and on a countback at 6 foot 5, Magic Dumi, Nigeria, and Patterson, Scotland are equal second. In the heats of the women's 100 yards, the world's record has been equaled by Marjorie Jackson, and the games record equaled 3 times. Runners now get ready for the final. Left to right, it's Hardman and Parker of New Zealand, Johnston, Shanley, Strickland and Jackson of Australia.
On your mark. Get set.
Marjorie Jackson of Australia again equals the world record of 10.8 seconds. Here's the finish again in slow motion. Shirley Strickland second and V. Johnson third both register 11 seconds, 1/10 of a second better than the previous game's record. Preparing for the final of the 120 hurdles. Getting ready is R. Gardner, Australia, D. Finlay, England, and Holland of New Zealand. In the far lane is title holder T. Lavery, South Africa. Then Gardner, Holland, Smith, Finlay and Weinberg.
Get set.
Lavery, Gardner and Weinberg take the 5th hurdle together ahead of the field. Gardner, Australia, Weinberg, Australia and Lavery, South Africa. Slow motion shows the last 5 hurdles again. Watch Lavery in the far lane, who lost a button off his running shorts, finished the race under a severe handicap. Veteran English hurdler Finlay, who won the title 16 years ago, is in lane 2. Gardner's 14.3 seconds beats Lord Burleigh's 20-year-old record by 0.3 of a second.
Get set.
The 3 miles and 12 competitors are off on the 12-lap course. Taking the lead in the first lap is Hoskins, New Zealand, followed by Forbes, Scotland, with Air England lying 3rd, Emerton, Australia 4th, and Nelson, New Zealand just behind him. Air attempts to pass Nelson and clear out from the field. Coming into the final lap, it's Air in the lead from Nelson and Chivers of England. The winner, the title goes to Len Air of England with Nelson 2nd and Chivers 3rd. Time, 14 minutes, 23.6 seconds. Favourites for the women's 220 are Shirley Strickland and Marjorie Jackson. Competitors are at the start for a run on a wet track. From the far lane, it's Rowe, New Zealand, Jackson, Strickland, Johnson, Australia, Parker, New Zealand, and Robb, South Africa.
Get set.
Jackson wins in 24.3 seconds, Strickland 2nd and Robb 3rd. For the 3rd time at the Games, Marjorie Jackson equals a world record.
Lawn bowls, an outdoor sport for older men, is a welcome event in New Zealand where the game is immensely popular. Here is J. Pirrett Jr. of New Zealand bowling in the singles. Dr. Weston Krupp, sole Canadian entrant, is here Pirrett's opponent. In the finals, Pirrett was successful in winning the singles for New Zealand. The teams competing came from Australia, South Africa, Fiji, Canada and New Zealand. And here are the fours teams of New Zealand and Australia. The South African pair, W. Gibb and H. Van Sale, take the mat up the green with them. For New Zealand bowls, this practice is something new out of Africa. Enlarge the mat and the sport is wrestling, plain amateur wrestling at its best. This is the lightweight contest with Richard Garrard of Australia, dark costume, sparring for a hold with David Ickringill of England. One of Garrard's specialties is the leg dive, and he tries for one. Garrard tries a leg hook and armbar. Garrard won this event at the Empire Games of 1934 and again in 1938. Now, over 40, with a successful body press, he wins the event once more, and lightweight wrestling goes to Australia. The heavyweight contest. Dark-dressed James Armstrong of Australia against England's Kenneth Richmond. Armstrong renews his crutch hold. Out of the ring. A leg dive and Armstrong wins on points. From unarmed to armed combat, G. Pouliot of Canada dons the mask and faces his opponent in the individual foils. Fencing is an event new to the Empire Games. Pouliot's opponent is J. Feathers of Australia. In 6 out of the 7 fencing events, the honours went to England. Another bout in the individual foils. R.J. Anderson, left of England, against R.R. Paul, also of England, the Empire Foils champion. And for contrast with the lithe fencers, the glowing muscles of the heavyweight strongmen. This is McGee of Australia performing a 240-pound snatch. H. Cleghorn of New Zealand prepares to make his first attempt at a snatch of 260 pounds. The light signals show a no lift for that one. McGee again in a 310-pound jerk. For the 19.5-stone McGee, the lights show successful lift. Now Tan Kim Bee, Malayan light heavyweight, in a 240-pound snatch. Bad luck Malaya. Next light heavy is J. Varalo of Canada in a snatch of 250 pounds. Tan Kim Bee again in a 310-pound jerk. By that heroic lift, Tan Kim Bee gained a point for his team, which made Malaya Empire champions. The light heavies, first Varalo, Canada, second Bloomberg of South Africa, and Tan Kim Bee third. And the heavies, strongest man in the empire, Cleghorn of New Zealand, second McGee of Australia,